I want to bring in Steve Bell. Steve, you know, we had talked to you earlier about what the president faces in this time of recovery. You're with the Bipartisan Policy Center. This isn't your first rodeo when you've seen White House officials really face a devastating, I guess you could say, situation where they have to really have to cater to these folks. And I want to ask you sort of your takeaway when you see the president not only go to Texas once, but go to Texas twice, and what he can learn from this visit when he comes back to Washington and he talks to lawmakers as they reconvene on Tuesday.
You know, what strikes me is how much children affect this president. And he now, as we see, is greeting a lot of young children there in the NRG Convention Center. I think this is going to be something, as Brad said, that he really internalizes. And he knows, being a builder himself, what damage this is going to do, the mold that remains even after a house is clear of the water, all of the things that are going to be coming up day after day, month after month that have to be dealt with. So my own opinion is we had politicization of Sandy, and we shouldn't have had it. And I started working in the Senate staff in 1974, and that was the first time I ever saw that kind of politicization on a real emergency. I don't think we're going to have it this time. I think, for example, Congressman Lubiando of New Jersey said the day after this started, I'm not going to hold that against the Texas delegation. I'm going to vote for the money for Texas. So I think, you know, maybe Ted Cruz is going to have to go through a little bit of shaming, but after that's done, I think we'll get the money.
How does he fight the bureaucracy? How does he cut through that red tape? Because you can't go and meet these men and women. You see this little girl sitting on the governor's lap. You know, she hasn't been home for the better half of a week. She's been sleeping on a cot. How do you get this message across when you come back to D.C. to prevent the bickering and the fighting that we've seen since they've had both houses, both chambers, as well as the White House?
One, I think that you're going to see rapid response here. The $7.9 billion, I think they will move very quickly on. They may put it on the continuing resolution, that so-called big spending bill they have to get done at the end of this month. They may put it somewhere else, but they will get it done very quickly.
Can they attach it to the debt ceiling?
They can. The House Freedom Caucus, the head of that, Mark Meadows of South Carolina, said, don't do that.
I do want to interrupt you. I want you to finish your thought. But in the meantime, I just want to listen in. This is the president sharing some time with some young victims there. I just want to take a listen.
Maybe. He likes the building. He likes the fire. Maybe a fire.
Okay, I want to weave you back in, Steve, if I may. And you were continuing on a thought where I said, you know, the Congress comes back on Tuesday. They're facing these pictures here. The president's going to be probably much more passionate than he was before after meeting with some of these young children that you can see here. He has to fight the bureaucracy. How is he going to do that?
Well, first of all, he can use executive orders as far as federal agencies go. And so you can cut down on a lot of the red tape that way at the federal level. What happens at the state and local level, I think he's lucky that he has a Republican governor. And a lot of the folks, especially in Harris County, they may not be Republicans, but they are people who have a real responsibility to the constituents, which you've seen from the mayor and the police chief and all the rest of the officials there. So I think this can be something he can do starting at the federal level, telling these regulators, hey, they don't have to sign 10 forms, get them the money, especially the first $8 billion. I would remind everybody that a month out after Sandy, we gave Sandy about $2 billion. 2 months out, the Congress gave them about triple that. So we're now looking at the first down payment on what could be really in the $125 billion cost.